nombre. I feeling like el hombre. Tratan como calle, pero luego se me esconde. They say we took a loss, but they cannot tell me dónde. Mis alhajas son de oro, las tuyas son de cobre. Que vean, que se traen conmigo. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to my channel, Try This Out Podcast. I'm your host, Leo. And first and foremost, man, I want to say thank you guys for sticking with me this long and checking out my story. And I hope that you guys took something away from it, or something that you guys could pass on to your children, or your brother, your sister, or whatever. Show them my videos, and it'll show them exactly what's going to happen, man, if they go down that path, that live in that gang lifestyle, or even just a street life, man. It's a that game, man, that game has one ending and one ending only, man. And that's something that needs to be told to the kids, man, told to the youth. You know what I'm saying? Like I think a lot of times they see this glorification of gang life, because you see whether you see the tattoos or you see the fuck it all attitude, you know what I'm saying? But man, it comes at a cost, man. And then there's some people that are willing to pay that price, man, and I'm glad that I wasn't one of them, that I got out of it. And I'd just like to say thank you, man. Thank you guys for listening, and thank you guys because you know what, it helps me a lot also, man. It's helped me tremendously, getting a lot of things off my chest where I can express how I really felt at the time, because like I said, even after I got out, I still felt some type of I still had that street in me, man, and I think that'll always be in me, you know what I'm saying? But I got out of prison and quickly forgot what I went through. I forgot quickly, man, what I went through while I was in there. And so I just want to say thank you, man, from the bottom of my heart. Thank you guys. I just wanted to let you guys know also everything that I've spoken on this channel, every story that I've told, everything was truthful, you know what I'm saying? I might got maybe some days mixed up or some dates mixed up, but the story, the basis of the story of what my life consisted of in there, that's what it was. Like I said, I do these videos because ultimately, you know what I'm saying, what I want to do with my life is I want to go travel throughout Washington, and tell people my story. Go to classrooms, go to, talk to teachers, maybe, show them how to better interact with kids with my background, or, how I was going through it when I was a kid, which led to my ultimate incarceration. So yeah, man, anyways, I just want to say thank you on that, man. Speak on that real quick. And so let's go back to the story, man. So here we go. I kind of went through it real quickly in my last video, but I'm going to tell you guys how I felt, right before the date I got released, because not the day, but the 30 days leading up to my release. And like I said in my previous video, man, I was already a marked man. I had already cut ties with the organization that I was running with at the time. And, I'd be a liar if I didn't say that I had fear in me every day, man. Every day I walked out that cell, I thought that they were plotting on me. You know what I'm saying? I thought that they were just, because that's how it goes in there. You know what I'm saying? They'll keep you under their wing until they find the right moment or the right dude to come handle business, right? And thank God that moment never came for me, and the guy that had the keys at the shot caller there at the time kept his word, and they didn't move on me. You know what I'm saying? But man, every day I walked out that cell, man, it was it was scary, man, because it was different now. Now I'm the prey, right? Not prey because, shit, I at the end of the day, no matter what would have happened, I would have held my own or tried to, you know what I'm saying? I would have defended myself by any means necessary. But it kind of felt weird now where I'm the one that's outnumbered. I'm the one that's, you know what I'm saying, that I'm the one that's I'm the one that's paranoid now. I'm the one that's green lighted, man. That's just what it is, you know what I'm saying? And so I'm sitting there, right, and like I said in my previous video, a lot of homies still try to hang out with me, try to kick it with me. I always kept it respectful, like, hey man, I'm good, I don't want to hang out with you guys just because it would just bring problems to me, man, and to them potentially, hanging out with me after I decided to move away from that lifestyle. And like I said, let's make this clear, man. I'm not a dropout because I never belonged to anything that I could drop out of. You know what I'm saying? So people can say what they want to, man. I'm a grown man. I do things for my family first and foremost. You know what I'm saying? I'm a man first and foremost. Words don't bother me, man. Only little boys and little girls react to words. So what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to better myself, and along the way better other kids or other men, young women, man, that kind of live the similar lifestyle that I lived. But anyways, so I'm sitting there, right, and it's a lot of pressure, man. It's a lot of pressure, a lot of paranoia, man, and
those days felt like they took forever, man. You know what I'm saying? You're talking a decade. I'm sitting there in prison. And when I got locked up, the cell phones were, they were like pretty much, we were coming out of the flip phone era. You know what I'm saying? And we were getting those Nokias with the little game, the little snake game. Those were popular when I got locked up. When I got out, it was completely different, man. It's like walking into a whole different world. But the day I signed my papers was the day, man, that I knew, okay, I'm gonna get out. Because no matter, even though like they tell you, okay, your day's up, man, you've been there so long that you can't, it's unbelievable, man. It's unbelievable. You know what I'm saying? After all those days, after all those months, years where I'm pacing in that cell and just thinking and daydreaming and breaking down, building myself back up, breaking down, building myself back up, man. It takes a toll on a person. I'm a witness, man, to people breaking mentally in there. You know what I'm saying? Whether it be mentally, like to the point where they just become completely delusional, or mentally to where they just give up on life, man, and they just choose that lifestyle. They choose being in there instead of, being a productive member of society, man, because it's hard, man. It's hard being a productive member of society. You know what I'm saying? But nothing in this life is easy. You know what I'm saying? So, anyways, man, let's get back to the story. I'm sitting there writing, all these things are going through my head, like what's it gonna be like? Because I've had so many visions in my head, especially when I was in the hole. I would daydream so much, man, about what it would feel like driving a car. Because mind you, I was 16 when I got locked up. So yeah, I've driven cars, not legally, but it was different. Now I'm a grown man. I can go buy beer, I can go buy cigarettes, I can go do all these things that I couldn't prior to being locked up. But so I'm it's weird to say. It's hard to explain, man. It's hard to explain exactly what I felt. I mean, obviously I felt happiness. I felt, especially I haven't seen two of my brothers and my dad for that decade. I couldn't see them. You know what I'm saying? So I knew I was going to see my brother that day that I got out. He was going to come pick me up with my sister and my other little sister. She came with them also. And so the day I got released, man, I knew a couple people in there that I left my stuff to. You know what I'm saying? I left like all the stuff that I had as far as hygiene, as far as food wise. I couldn't leave my TV because they were on that. They were coming down on that. Not letting people leave their electronics like that. And so yeah, man, it's weird talking about it, man, because I don't really talk about, because it's very emotional for me, man. You know what I'm saying? It was like a dream come true, man. It was like a miracle, man. Like I made it out of there after all that stuff that I spoke on these episodes, after all the assaults I committed, after all the situations that I put myself in where I could have potentially gotten even more time. You know what I'm saying? And through all of that, man, through all the heartache, the heartbreak that I caused myself, man. I don't blame nobody but myself. I never have. My upbringing was rough, man. When it got to a certain point in my life, to a certain age, a lot of things fell apart, family wise, and, coming from a broken home, coming from a poor home, it was hard to navigate my life in a positive manner, man. So, I chose the easy way, and I just got myself involved in the streets, man, and gave my life up to that, and it cost me a lot. And, so, when I got out, I'm walking through, there's these doors, right? There's these doors that you have to go through. Then you go through the metal detector, right? And as soon as I walk in through those doors, I see my sister, two of my sisters, and I see my brother right there, man. You know what I'm saying? And it was, I go in, my last video, the thumbnail, that's me when I first got out. That's my sister. That's the first moment where I got to hug her, after being a free man. And then I seen my brother, you know what I'm saying? There's tears flowing, man. I was in shock, man. I was in, this thumbnail that I'm gonna put on this video, you see me there, I'm just in shock, man. I'm just in shock, man. I can't put it into words, there's a lot of people that I left behind, that I really cared about. But it was just, that's the best way I can describe it, man. I was just in shock. It was unbelievable. Getting in a car, man, and driving. I called my dad right away. I called my brother. My mom, she thought I was coming, she thought I was getting released the next day, right? But my brother and my sister wanted to surprise her So they came and picked me up, man. And after 10 years, after a decade of just being in a bus, and something, when I would get transferred, when I was in the hole for committing these assaults, they would transfer me in these buses, right? In the beginning of the buses, they have these cages that are welded in the bus, and they put you in those cages if you're a threat. You know what I'm saying? If you're getting transferred from one hole to another, they'll put you in those cages while everybody else goes to the back of the bus, and they have their seat like regular people in a bus. But they put you in one of those cages, man. There's plexiglass, you know what I'm saying, to keep you away from them. So most of the time, that's where I would be transferring, and they block the windows of the buses on each side with these steel plates. And so you can only see a crack. You can only see a fraction of the outside world when you're in, and you got to get down. You got to look through that little slit there. And that was the only time in those 10 years where I would go outside to the real world, man, and get transferred. And being in a car, it was, seeing the world pass me by, man, and seeing how fast we were going. It was a magical moment for me, man. Something that will never, ever, ever happen again in my life. You know what I'm saying? And I think maybe, maybe that's a problem with some people, that they want to relive that moment, because nothing else, they don't try to, make it in life, or they just want to relive that moment of that happiness of getting released. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, all that comes at an expense. But yeah, man, hadn't been to my town in 10 years, you know what I'm saying? And when I get into town, so when you get to my town, you gotta, they're like, you're coming down, you're going down this road. Once you start going down this road, it starts opening up. You see a bridge, right? You see a bridge, and then you see the town, man. And once I seen that bridge, I knew I was home. I didn't believe that I was really out. I was still in shock. But once I seen the bridge, and I seen the river, and I seen the Quickie Mart right there, man, it was, I closed my eyes. I let a sigh of relief out, man. And I was just like, man, I couldn't believe it, man. I couldn't believe it, man. It was so emotional. I couldn't even cry, man. It was just something that I kept to myself. I closed my eyes, like I said, and I just, everything happened. And I envisioned everything in a moment. Everything I had been through in prison. And it was, so we're going into town. And my sister's like, hey, I want to take you around, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people had heard I was getting out, but my sister told him, hey, I don't want to make it too crazy for him, you know what I'm saying? Like, just give him a day or two, give him some space. He's been through a lot, you know what I'm saying? And, speaking about it now, man, it hits me right here, you know what I'm saying? Because it was just, man, it's unexplainable, man, and I think that's something that's something that's one of those things that should be explainable, you know what I'm saying, that I shouldn't be able to put into words, you know what I'm saying? It's just like kind of, the love you have for somebody, your mother, your father, there's no way you can put into words, your children. And I think that going through something like that, in that moment, that special moment that I had with myself, is something that needs to be unexplainable, because if it was explainable, it wouldn't be special, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, man, so not to get all emotional, man, but so yeah, man, I go, we get to town, and my mom, like I said, she wasn't expecting me, man. So I knock on the door, and my mom answers, she answers it, and she's just like, she's, taken aback, like, what are you doing here, man? And, she starts crying, and I give her a hug, man, and it's like, I'm home, Mom, I'm home, and so we started, a lot of people came by to say hi to me that I hadn't seen in years, you know what I'm saying? They heard, we were just having a small little barbecue there for myself when I got out. But people had heard, the word was going, this small town, man, so the word was going around that I had gotten out. The cop that I had threatened, I got 2 years over threatening the cop. I threatened the cop that I was going to kill him when I got out. Just being a reckless, dumb kid. I ended up getting 2 years for that. And that cop ended up telling this lady that's like really close to my mother and to me as our family, she's like a second mom to me. He's like, hey, man, I had to put cameras around my house because we knew that he was getting released. And, it was just so funny, man, because that was furthest thing from my mind, man. I didn't care about that. He had to do his job just like I thought I was doing mine. So, yeah, man, people kept stopping by, and I didn't really get good sleep, man, for maybe the first 30 days, because to me, I thought that, man, if I go to sleep, I'm gonna wake up, they're gonna come and get me, you know what I'm saying? They're gonna come and get me, and I wouldn't sleep for 2 days at a time. It was really hard to get. I would go sleep on the floor in my mom's house. I would go sleep on the floor. I'd go from like on a bed to the couch, from the couch to the floor, because I was so used to sleeping on something hard. You know what I'm saying? And my mom would be like, "Sleep. What are you doing? Get off the floor." But that was my my comfort zone. So yeah, man, I was on the right track. I stayed on the right track for a good man. I stayed on the right track for a good man, I want to say a good year. Where I was still doing I was working out. I was running. I was on probation. So I couldn't run wild. You know what I'm saying? And but that's the problem, right? Once I got out probation, man, it was like I was 16 years old again. I had completely forgotten about what I had gone through, and I went right back to living the fast life. I got back into drugs. I got back into drinking. I got back into hanging out, with the same people from the streets not the same exact people, but the same type of people, that we grew up the same. We're and they're gang members, you know what I'm saying? They were gang, and I got back. I started hanging out with them again. You know what I'm saying? And that was just me giving up on life again, man. I had a good job, and that's the thing that sometimes that I sit there and I tell myself, like, man, I'm really I'm irresponsible when it comes to emotions. You know what I'm saying? I'm really irresponsible when it comes to emotions. I would let something just get in my way. Like I would and I would just be like, nah, I'm giving up. This is too hard. And it's happened many times, man, throughout my life while I've been out. Like, mind you, I've been out 10 years. And it's been maybe the last 2 to 3 years, man, where I really buckled down. I'm like, you know what? And I really understood the what means to me in my life. What has meaning to me in my life, and what my purpose was in life, and doing these YouTube videos. This is my purpose in life, and trying to help people spread my story. And like I said, man, there's been a couple times where I've been, my job, I'm a truck driver. So I go to different towns, I go to different places, and there's been a couple times where there was one time where a guy actually swung on me, you know what I'm saying, in front of a crowd, where I went to go deliver at a taco truck, in a taco stand, and for that one split second, man, I reverted back to the guy in prison, to who I used to be. And I was like, hey, man, you know what, man, like, let's go into the alley, I'll give you that, but I'm not gonna do it in front of people, but I'll give you that one-on-one, because you don't know me, you know what I'm saying? And I'm a very peaceful person. I'm a humble person. I try to help where I can, you know what I'm saying? But anyways, like I said, man, yeah, because I ended up taking them to court, because the courts try to put me on probation for 3 years, but I had already done my max, which was 10 years. So they tried to keep me on there for 3 more years. That would have been a 13-year sentence. So I took him to court, and I ended up winning. The prosecuting attorney actually helped me out, because he had seen that I had stayed out of trouble, you know what I'm saying? And so he helped me out. He's like, don't get a lawyer, man. I seen that you've done what you needed to do, and you've done your 10 years, and that's your max sentence. So they let me go off probation off that. I won, and the probation officer still didn't want to let me off, man. After I went to court, the probation officer was like, well, just because the judge signed it doesn't mean that it makes it legal, or doesn't mean that you're off probation. I was like, all right, man, well, I'm going to drive down there, because, the courthouse is like 2 hours away from the county that I was doing my probation at. I drove down there, man, gave him the paper, and sure enough, he's, oh yeah, you're free to go, man. So he let me go. He was pissed. But man, that was I think that was one of my downfalls as far as getting back into that lifestyle, right? Because I remember doing a little bid in the hole, and I was there next to this guy, this white dude, and he had done 15 years prior, got out. He was out for like 5 years, and then came back, and was like on a 30-year bid, man, 30-year sentence. And that's one of the things he told me. He's like, hey, man, you may think that you're gonna remember all this shit, being in the hole, the suffering, everything. He's like, but trust me, man, once you get out there, that life, it's fast, man. And you'll forget, and you'll go back to the same shit you're doing if you're not strong enough mentally. And that's exactly what I did. So that's what when I speak on something, it's because I already lived it, man. I've already fell flat on my face numerous times, trying to, and I sometimes not being the friend I should be, the brother I should be, the father that I should be, the boyfriend that I should be. I failed on all of that. But you know what? I've gotten myself back up, and I told myself, hey, man, there's no handouts in this life. You know what I'm saying? Like, I gotta just be able to sacrifice the things that are meaningless to me, and focus on the things that have meaning. And that's what I've been doing so far. And my life has been nothing but great, as far as I don't have to borrow money. I don't have to You know, I don't have to be behind on my bills. You know what I'm saying? I have a place for my family, roof over their heads. You know, and that's a great feeling, man. Got money coming in. You know, and that's something, man. And like I said, I'm not by no means successful, man. You know, I'm a poor brown man. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to make it in life, man. And this YouTube thing, I do it for a lot of, you know, excuse me, but I do it for hopefully one day I can show this to a superintendent from a school or something like that of that nature, man, where they can hire me or people like me. That can, we may not have educational degrees, right? But man, the life that I lived, I mean, what better? I've been in situations where there's two gangs, opposite gangs, you know, trying to kill each other, you know, and I've gotten along with both sides. So I know how to mediate, you know what I'm saying? I know how to, you know, with certain situations, certain conflicts, you know, and I think that schools and juveniles should hire people like us, people like me that have actually lived that life. Now, I'm not talking about somebody that, you know, went and did 2 years in a medium or a minimum, went to a camp, and now they're out and they're talking about, man, that's not that. Like, yeah, being locked up is being locked up. Don't get me wrong, but when you go through the minimum, medium, you know, it's very lax, man. You get a key to your cell. It's very easy. So it's very easy for people to go to those places and act like they did a lot of time, but or try to act like they actually did time. But it's two different worlds, man. Two different worlds. And a lot of different politics that in between. But anyways, man, so that's why I do these YouTube videos, you know what I'm saying? Eventually I want to travel, you know, and go to schools, go to juveniles and do teachings there, speak on my life and answer questions and things of that nature, man. And like I said, I'm going to try everything I can, you know, and I know one thing is going to hit and I'm going to become successful at it, and it's going to be something I like doing from my heart and helping people. But anyways, let's get back to me being out on the streets, man, and me getting back into that lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? And I was I got lost again, man. I got lost again in trying to and that's why I don't understand, man. That's why I always try to psychoanalyze myself, excuse me, is because I try to, who better, man, than to understand me than me, you know? So there's a lot of times where I sit back there and I'm like, why did I do that, man? Why did I feel that way? And like in the beginning of this video, like I said, from the bottom of my heart, man, thank you for people that have viewed these and have tried to understand, because I know a lot of people didn't know what I've been through in my life that see these that are from my town, and you know what I'm saying, and it means a lot to me, man, that you guys take the time to really listen to what I have to say, and you know, hopefully one day, I mean, hopefully your children do not have to go or get into that life that I did, but if you know, God forbid, one day they do, they can listen to these videos and understand the pain and the suffering that comes from this, you know what I'm saying, from living that life. And it's hard to let go of. Like I said, even after 10 years, man, of all that, I get back out and I still put myself back out there like that. You know, I put myself in situations where I could have lost my freedom again, you know, or even worse, man, I could have lost my life. I got into I don't know how many brawls, you know, while I was out here. And that's all has to do with who you hang out with, man. Honestly, you can't sit there. Excuse me. You can't sit there and hang out with a bunch of gang members, man, right? And then expect people not to look at you as one, you know? Or you're in the streets, right, hanging out with certain people, man, and they got beef with certain people, man. You're going to be caught up in the crossfire, man. That's just plain and simple. You know, I got friends and homies that yeah, like if they were in a jam, I wouldn't let them get jumped or nothing like that, man. But for me to myself to get involved in that type of stuff, you know, it's man, I got a family, man. That's my number one priority. So that's what I'm saying, man, that it's very hard to get out of that lifestyle once it's in you, man. And I think it'll always be in me. It's just that now I've grown and I'm matured enough to understand that part of my life is dead. You know, that's in the past. I don't got to keep living there. But yeah, man, I got out and I got back into the same stuff. And you know what got me out of that shit again, you know, was certain people doing certain things, man, watching the way certain people move. Now, I'm not saying I'm perfect, man, but I showed a lot of love to people out here, a lot of love, man. I like I said, there's numerous people that have tried to fight me that I wouldn't fight them, you know, whether they call me, I could have been called a bitch or pussy or whatever. That doesn't matter to me. You know, I know who I am. My record speaks for itself. You know what I'm saying? That's nothing to brag about. You know, I'm trying to show people what to brag about is, man, I'm working 13, 14-hour days. You know what I'm saying? That's putting in work to me now. That's something that I can hold my head high and be like, hey, at the end of the week, I'm getting a paycheck, you know? When I was putting in all that work in prison, all I was getting was long time terms in the hole. and nothing to show for it. That reputation, that image is not going to pay your bills, man. Like, you might be able to impress these kids. You might be able to impress, people that ain't all there, or these little girls and stuff like that, man. But at the end of the day, as a man, you know what I'm saying? The society, it doesn't work that way, So that's why I was telling a kid the other day, not a kid, man, a young man, about building his credit now. Why? So by the time he's 30, everybody else has partying and stuff, man. They're gonna be struggling while he's already, owning a house, with no down payment. And I myself don't even know none of that stuff, but I'm teaching myself. That's the thing. I had a thing for learning, and that's one of the number one things that I took from prison, that I'm turning a negative into a positive, is the way that I read and the way that I learn things, and with my speaking, when I decide to go travel to schools, I hope it translates to that also, because I have a problem speaking in public. But like I said, it's all about facing your fears, man. It's all about doing the things that make you uncomfortable. Once you do the things that make you uncomfortable, man, and you're doing something right, you're going toward because nothing in life that's worth it is going to be easy, man. But anyways, yeah, I got back into that lifestyle, man, and during the course of all that, which I'm going to do another episode on, a special episode for my father, rest in peace. And that was another thing that I'm going to speak on, like I said, in the next videos that I do on my father, is the pain, man, and the regrets, and especially that I have a lot of time with him, and he passed away a little bit after I got out, and it's something that to this day, I have to deal with, but it's something that I don't let it destroy me. It's a not even motivation, man. It's like a conviction of me that's like, nah, I know what my dad seen in me, and I know what he wanted from me. So then I'm gonna make that wish come true for him, But like I said, there was a lot of time that I lost with people that I love, man. People and I lost that time in order to please other people that didn't care about me, man. And it's all about, here's the thing, man. I want to say this real quick. For people that are watching this, right? And I want you guys to understand one thing. In prison, people click up. It's not out of love. It's not out of love. It's not out of, oh man, that we're from the same gang or nothing like that, man. It's out of necessity. It's out of necessity. So when you're all together out of necessity, man, yeah, you're going to form some bond, some love and stuff like that, man. But at the end of the day, you guys are only there with each other because you need each other. If you guys didn't need each other, we're killing each other on the streets, man. It speaks for itself. And that's something, man, that's something that led me away from that lifestyle, man, some people say that broke me, but it doesn't matter. I got smarter. I realized, and I decided to stand on my own 2 feet. But yeah, man, so just always keep that in mind, man. Like, you're gonna go to prison, you may think that you're loved, man, but trust me, you make the wrong move, you say the wrong thing, and you're gonna see how much love you actually do got. So yeah, with that being said, man, I'm gonna end this episode right now. And like I said in my previous videos, man, after this episode right here, I'm gonna bring special guests on. My first guest is gonna be Ray, my crime partner. That way he can speak on and elaborate on a lot of things that I spoke on throughout this journey. Because I know YouTube, man, is a funny world, man. You could say you did this, you did that, man, and then you don't got nobody to collaborate on that or to co-sign on it, man. Then it's pretty much, I can make up any type of stories, man. But like I said, there's no reason for me to do any of that. I'm just sharing my story in order for it to be helpful towards people. But hey, man, thank you guys for sticking with me this long, man, and I appreciate you guys checking out my channel. If I just cut it short, man, I apologize, but I'm gonna get back to it, and I'll see you guys later, man. I'm out.